We are going old school retro today, and we're going homebrew as well. I have been playing Asteroids on the Atari 2600 since I was a kid, and the funny thing is, I didn't even know there was a proper arcade game until many years later. That was way before the internet and years before I had a driver's license. So, let's compare the OG Atari 2600 classic Asteroids and the excellent homebrew game Space Rocks, published by Atari Age.
It's Asteroids versus Space Rocks in the game closet. Fight!
In my small hometown, there was a local arcade where I used to play the original Mario Brothers with my childhood friend Walt until all of our lawn mowing salary quarters were gone. Two 10-year-old nerds painting the town plaid on a Friday night. Pizza, an arcade, and Cinemax playing Escape from New York and The Exorcist until dawn. Who would want anything more at that age? I digress. Asteroids was published by Atari for the Atari 2600 video game system and had 66 game variations. Well, in actuality, it was 33 game variants with 2-player settings for each variant. But Scott, I'm a total Atari noob. What are game variants? Well, my dear retro-inspired gamer friends, a game variation was Atari's way to change a game up a bit in order for you to get more mileage out of the game by making the game more challenging and fun. This isn't to be confused with the difficulty switches on the system. Those also varied the games in one way or another, usually making them more difficult, hence the words difficulty on the console. On Asteroids, the difficulty switches turn on or off the random alien flying saucers that shot at you or the satellites that floated by. However, the variations could be extra lives at different or higher levels, shields instead of hyperspace, no extra lives, etc. The Atari 2600 console, Asteroids, did not look like the vector graphics of the arcade version, nor did it behave like the arcade version. Also, the arcade rocks moved randomly, and they also followed a loose physics model once they were shot. The Atari home version was limited in its programming because of the limited power of the system. However, even with the limitations, they're pixel blobs. How close to the arcade did they have to be? Atari Asteroids got the job done, and it sold over 4,300,000 copies, and it ranks third in most Atari game cartridges sold, behind Pitfall at 4.5 million copies and Pac-Man at over 7,800,000 units sold. That's a lot of Pac-Man games sold, especially since it's such a piece of shit. In 2012, Atari Age released Space Rocks. It's basically a homebrew updated and upgraded version of Asteroids for the Atari 2600. It looks and behaves more like the arcade version with menu enhancements to make it easier to choose your game variations, like 1 or 2 player or head-to-head, difficulty, friction on or off, hyperspace, shields, flip 180 degrees, or nothing when you push down, bonus score level, and even the style of the asteroids, solid or vector, and even color variations. Now, the designers were able to put a lot more into this game because of the chipset inside the Homebrew cartridge. It's more advanced than the original Atari ROM chips were back in the day. As a matter of fact, they'll only run on original Atari hardware and not modern emulation systems like the stock firmware on the Hyperkin Retron 77. There have been new firmware updates to allow homebrew games in an updated version of Stella to run on the Retron 77. Now, I haven't tried this on my Retron 77 yet, so I'll have to give her a try. Space Rocks controls just like Asteroids does. It's smooth and fun, but I guarantee you, because the rocks move in a more random manner and diagonally, unlike the Atari 2600 Asteroids, it's gonna be a lot more hard for you to play. It's definitely more challenging, and I'm a big fan of the ability to turn the friction on and off and to play head-to-head. Who would like to blast their opponent to Kingdom Come? My suggestion? Look in the description below, as there is a link to Atari Age's Space Rocks page, and buy a copy today. They do not sponsor Game Closet in any way. Well, at this time. Hint, hint, Atari Age. Give me a call! I'm just a fan of the game and of Atari Age and what they do there. Even though I've made the claim that Space Rocks is more challenging than Asteroids, that's not saying that Asteroids isn't challenging. As you can see here, it's kind of a short game for me. I've got 51,000 points already. I have 2 lives left. By now, any self-respecting player would have turned the Atari off and gone and gotten a sandwich. I'm not self-respecting. With a few more asteroids coming my way and a few more satellites and UFOs, I'm getting a little tired, and it's time to retire. Thanks for joining me in the Game Closet. Subscribe right now for more cheesy videos in your future. Help the channel out by sharing on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Hit the like button and YouTube will share with more great people like you. See a video you missed? Tap it and watch right now. We will see you soon.